Okay, we are live. Give you guys about 2-3 minutes, get yourself settled, grab a drink, do what you gotta do, and then we'll do a roll call into intro, into recap. I don't know who is going to do recap. If you have any volunteers, let me know. If not, I will see you guys in 2-3 minutes and we'll figure it out then.
Show of hands, anybody?
I don't mind covering. It's been a while. Actually, do I still have any inspo from last time? I haven't really been using it, so... It's been a while, granted, but...
Fuck it.
Nah, I'm at 0. Okay.
It's been a while.
Been a while. Sorry.
It's so late. I know you probably weren't here, but like it's been a while. Then like 30 minutes later, it's been a while.
I was trying to resist. That's why it took so much time. Didn't have the willpower at the end.
It's just gonna become a running joke at this point. Like, every time that they leave the room and they come back, he's like, it's been a while.
It's like that one gift of that the kid who's like sitting in his chair at school, look like he's having like a seizure. He's like so like focused.
Oh. Someone goes to the bathroom, they come out. Hey, it's been a while.
You know, on the we'll be right back screen. You know, I felt like 55 entries was like maybe excessive, but I just see the same one so frequently. I want to add another 55 now.
Hey, I wouldn't mind.
Knowledge.
I mean, each of them are like less than a sentence length, so it makes sense that you're not dealing out a whole ton of information. I might do it. Time ending.
And it does cycle like every 5 seconds. So you're probably going through the entire list every 2 minutes-ish.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe like 2.5 minutes, yeah, the entire list. Well, it's random, so if we factor in the fact that it could repeat the same one 2-3 times in a row, it's unlikely. It could take longer.
Yeah, potentially.
But I do like it. It's a fun little script.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, let's get ready for tonight's song. Do roll call, and then if you guys are all here, I'll do the intro and see you guys in 30 seconds. Average.
Wow.
Vizian.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Body.
I am here.
Sakura.
Me too.
You guys in 30 seconds.
No.
All right, let's get into it.
I'm just high. Anyway, go ahead, Missy.
Oh no.
Pardon?
Say again. Come again.
I thought I was having a hard time dealing.
Thank you guys for joining in for another episode of Phantoms of the Past. We are 28, yeah, we're episode 28. Oh, we're getting up there. In any case, did we ever resolve who would like to do the recap?
I got it covered.
All right, take it away, Lewis.
All right. Sometime in the distant past, distant future, once Lewis and the group have started to somewhat collect themselves, Lewis sits at a desk lit by candlelight as he fills out a report. The various filings are just about what happened during that particular incident of when that creature in the sky appeared. The entire event elapsed maybe a couple minutes, but it'll be remembered for quite some time. From my class, Sora, Phoenix, Phoenix, there's too many people. Sora, Amber, and Judith, there you go, were going about their business, taking care of a few errands. Made a friend named Bananu, and made it to the Harpy. Things seemed pretty calm for a time. There was some jokes made, a duck was found, but things started to get a lot more wild. A creature arising into the distance, and metal beings descending on the Harpy, destroying the facility and sending everybody into sheer chaos. Seeing the event, Sora was able to awaken her family's rune, allowing her to transform into a being 3 times the size with just as much power. Meanwhile, me, Phoenix, and Clamdor, accompanied by a few minor bots, made our way out of the holding cell of the Metal Guard. We tried to make our way up the facility and see what could be done, but it seems whatever that creature was able to hijack Clamdor's robots, assailed us, and we had our own troubles, especially being as weak as we were. Meanwhile, in the sky, the Metal Guard was encountered a foe it didn't expect to see. Sakura, Mother Nature. Up above, as the combat ensued, us at Clemdor's facility and the others at the Harpy had our own struggles. At the Harpy, Sora was destroying as many of them as she could with her newfound powers. The class, Almedra's class was, no, not Almedria. I forget what her name is.
I'm Alexia.
I'm Alexia. There's a lot of A names.
Yeah.
Alexia's class further assisted. Unfortunately, during the initial blast there, one of the civilians were caught in the blast and was killed. A small ape by the name of Bananu. From the sounds of it, one of the students decided to sacrifice themselves for them. Reasons I can't particularly see now. Alexia described it as being able to help one person, regardless, being able to create meaning even if it was only for a single person. The fight continued, and Banana was brought back to life. Quite some time occurred, but they were able to handle things down at the Harpy. Meanwhile, at Clemdor's facility, Clemdor's affliction had started to kick in. Started to see life as if it was in the past. and I had quite the amount of trouble trying to direct him. It looks like he's about to write in something about saying something embarrassing in order to instruct him, but he just like quickly scribbles it out. Meanwhile, Phoenix was able to head back down into the depths where the Metal God was contained and reprogram one of the Guardians to help us out. Good thing, too. One of Clemdo's experiments was about to attack, but Steam Golem was able to help me out, and we minimized the damages to the area. But with that incident all taken care of, we really didn't know what to do next. Lewis leans back in his chair, just staring up at the roof as he feels his hand up to his left eye, the one that had been taken out during the barrage of bullets from the steam golem. Now, what to do from here? As the camera zooms out and we proceed to the events of today.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Speaking of today's moving along rather well. We're going to go ahead and visit Phoenix soon, but before then, let's go to our Icarus overview map and let's overview. So each of you remember that, also roll your inspo bits in for sure. 1d2 plus 1.
Got it.
You get nothing. You lose, sir. So each of you would have done something to assist the city. We're going to be picking up a little bit after that, but I want each of you to have a chance to describe what you would have done for the city, of course, within the capabilities of your characters. And you don't need to have assisted the city. This is just a chance for you to express what happens between the initial attack and where you're at now, which is several hours in the future. Do I have any volunteers that would like to start off what they're doing in Icarus? Whoever goes first, I know going first is the hardest. I'll give a point of inspirato to.
I'll go first.
Take it away, Judith.
Judith sees once things kind of settle down at the Harpy and we kind of, see the destruction looking out over the cliff of like the rest of the city, and after the vision that the devilish fiend J.P. Morgan gave her of how the whole city's kind of fucked up, Judith will get straight into action and try to find any kind of all kind of healing stuff that the Harpy might have. And now she's in a place where she has no magic. She's beat up, but everyone else in the whole city is too. So she's gonna go out, and whoever wants to come with her, she's, of course, but is gonna help as many people as possible. And at the same time, like trying to search for people, is also gonna be photo documenting the whole thing and to really show the strength and resilience of Icarus in this devastating time. A flashback to a nightmare not forgotten is and if any of the party comes with her, then she will also take photos of them, obviously helping to help that story along. But it's gonna be more about helping people and being able to rely on her own self.
All right, excellent. So while you're trying to help out the city and doing all that stuff, most of the potions in the Harpies were destroyed, but you can gather up the chemicals with the assistance of anyone who's, well, capable in this field. Namely, would come to mind Amrut. Maybe the spilled juice on the floor, as it would look, he could repurpose into something you could spread for the city. Would you have spoken to him, or once you saw it all broken, you would have given up on that particular effort?
No, I would have seen that, and I would have asked, like, Amrut, do you think we can do something with this?
I'll take a look.
Speaking of Amrut, why don't we toss what's going on to you next? Because you would, of course, succeed in this matter, fulfilling most, if not all, of what Judith had hoped to accomplish.
Yeah, I'll probably Emma will probably be with Judith on the ground level, clearing out the rubble, like helping people that it might have been trapped underneath. He's also making sure, as far as like an under level crime thing. Make sure aren't people trying to take like advantage or trying to go into shops, take things without people noticing, stuff like that on the side as well.
Oh yeah, you see a little bit of that mostly from the people that live in the lower districts. They're just running into shops, even beating up the owners and taking the stuff out. And I'd imagine they turn around and they see vengeance, or they see you, I suppose.
Yeah, just Judith was like probably lose sight of him at one point and just hear like a window crash. And see like just like some dude like falling or like being like tossed out of a shop and then being run off.
All right, it's a long day of work. Judith, did you get any cool pictures of like mid-flight people getting tossed out stores?
I wouldn't have kind of a photo of that because I think he was trying to do it without me watching. So, but I would get like photos of, you see those like disaster relief photos, and like you would see like, Amra like helping somebody. You'd see like the rubble behind like someone who's like a little kid who's crying, and like something had like a robot thing had fallen on their house maybe and destroyed everything. Maybe along the way if Creed was there, I can get a photo of Creed lifting something to help people. Just like that kind of stuff.
Well, you would get a photo of Creed using his spell create food and water, and you would see that he's feeding people, and if the food he makes isn't good enough, him being a chef makes it even better. So people are eating good, even though a lot of these shops have been destroyed and people all over the place and afraid. A full belly, it warms the heart a little bit in times like these.
Gotcha.
Which brings you next? Sora?
After her fight and transforming for the first time, she initially begins following everyone to help, but she would quickly find she was incredibly faint, having to hold on to the wall and drifting behind. Her body has been pushed to a limit she's never been to before, so much so that even resting, she doesn't know if she's going to heal properly. So unfortunately, she has to stay back and rest for now. But she uses this time to begin making preparations of at least making the Harpy a livable HQ for her friends and herself. Trying to push whatever she can aside to the sides and opening up the space more. Seeing if any of the Harpies are alive and needing shelter.
Okay. The on your property, the Harpies that were hit by the initial explosion, you would try to dig them up and stuff because they were all in the thing.
That would be sort of what she would do while she can't really go too far away from this place at the moment. So she'd be trying to dig them out.
Wow. Miraculously, all of them they would appear dead at first. But if you remember our rules, some NPCs, if we make a bond with them, get a single death save. So those 3 Harpies that were in the hut miraculously survived. They're unconscious but stable.
And Sora would be doing her best to be giving them the best care she could in her condition, setting up the baths to kind of be temporary, like bird baths in a sense, trying to have them soaked, trying to get them to be comfortable before she's too tired, and uses what remnants of some of those tents to make up some bedding to lay down with Aethon and just try and relax for now. But her eye is always casting towards the entrance of the door, waiting for 2 faces that have not shown themselves since this all happened.
And you would see Bananu right by your side, helping out as best they can.
You are so fantastic, Bananu.
No, it's a horrible thing that's happened today. As many people as we can help, the better.
I wish I had the strength to keep going, but I've never experienced fatigue like this before.
You'll get better. You gotta get better. Take care of yourself.
I just really worry for my friends. A lot.
They're probably stopping to help people on their way here, I imagine.
Phoenix would know what's happening. She is so smart, Bananu. I've never known about machines before, and yet she seems like she knows them like the back of her own hand. She'll know what to do.
That's good. Here, she brings you a pillow or large cushion to sit on. You need to rest. Get off your feet for a little while.
And eventually she'd just collapse onto it, just holding the egg dear to her chest. And eventually she just begins to hum and rock with it. If the waves cause us to drift apart, know that you are in my heart. From the sea to the starry sky, nothing will keep you from me.
All right, so as the rest of you are doing that, Lewis, what are you doing in the city?
Lewis, carrying Clemdor on his back, who is still pretty delirious, looks at all of the destruction around. A couple buildings completely collapsed. Various families mourning their losses and trying to tend to their wounds. As Clemdor's babbling on his back fills his ears, his eyes eventually trace onto a young kid wandering the streets crying. And for a brief moment, in the darkness of his missing eye, he sees a younger version of himself walking through the streets. And his vision almost turning toward himself, he sees a large orc walking toward this child as Lewis himself walks up to the child. My kid, you know where your family is?
No, no. I seen them in the house right there. Oh look, that's my mom's leg under that stone. Right there she is.
Give me a second. Hey Clem, think you can take care of yourself? Doctor's orders.
Yeah. Whatever you say, Lydia.
Puts him down to around a relatively supported area as he tries to lift away the rubble.
Yeah, athletic check. See how good you're doing it.
Got it. I have exhaustion, so disadvantage. There it is.
You succeed, calling on whatever strength you have in your reserves. As you lift up the rock, you see on the other side, the child's father is holding the lady. It's clear that the lady is done for. Even the father's, most of his bones are crushed, you'd imagine, as he just lays there, having avoided the brunt of the collapsing of the ceiling, but still in rough condition. They, or he, I should say, cries out in rather fearsome manner. Pain, sometimes stronger than terror, more powerful than lions roar. Something that shakes the very foundation of everything we know and understand. And the boy doesn't understand, he's too young. But he just sees his dad's alive and he's celebrating and mom's asleep.
Kind of looking at her condition and through his bag, Would Lewis think that giving her a potion of heroism would potentially give her her body enough energy to try to fight for life?
Gives her a D20 death save throw. And if she fails, she's dead. If she succeeds, she's stable. You basically it's calming her back to life if you succeed, but it could also be wasted.
It's worth a shot. Here. Lois pulls out the bag and hands the father the potion. I can't guarantee it'll work, but it's better than no chance at all.
He just looks at you, looks down, pops it. He's mumbling words, but it's not any language anyone speaks. And it's not even a language he speaks. But he pours it into the mother's mouth, and you can roll her fate.
Let's see.
He looks at you. He looks to make sure he's got every drop in there. There's still a little bit in the bottom of the container. That must be it. He just keeps just smacking the bottom of the glass. Come on, every drop, every drop.
Waiting for a couple moments to try to see if she's able to pull through, and seeing that her condition hasn't improved. His single eye softens, looking at the scene. And he closes his eyes as he just walks away.
And as you walk away, the boy runs to his father and jumps into his arms to some grunts. He doesn't know. Maybe it won't be instantaneous. He hopes that whether it's an hour from now or a day, she'll open her eyes, because magic is a miraculous thing. But as you do walk away, give me a Constitution saving throw, old man. You have pushed your body well beyond its rightful limits.
Yep.
One would think you're at your limits. However, you stand ground firm. You begin to shake a little bit, almost having passed out. Not much strength to continue working in the city for long, but enough to not just be another person laying among the rubble. Good thing, too, because standing tall is the reason you'll be spotted by a passerby. Not just anyone, but someone you're quite familiar with. He looks at you and she just goes, Louis, is that you?
Lewis, in his delirious state, eventually just carrying Clemdor on his back again, just stumbles against a wall of a building as he hears her words and looks up. His vision blurred, but eventually coming together in one image of a beautiful woman that he once knew a long time ago. Minerva? Is that you?
She smiles. So it's also one of those, I wish it was better terms, happy to see you smiles. But she grabs you and she goes, you're done for the day. You're no good to anyone dead. She points to your eye, which has ooze falling out of it. I'm going to get this patched up. Come on. And Clamdor needs to be put somewhere safer.
He looks like he's about to try to come up with some sort of excuse, like he could still do it or something. But he kind of just lets out a sigh. Alright. You always knew best anyways.
All right, Lee. And you guys will travel back to the top of the mountain. Clamdor will be put in the same liquid that once housed the metal god. While it doubles as a thing that keeps the machines deactivated, it also has, based on the inputs, healing functions. And Minerva is one of Clamdor's 4 engineers, so she knows the facility well. As she tends to Clamdor and putting him into the, I think they're called fat pods. What are those pods called? They're just like a big tube you can put people in, typically in sci-fi movies. In any case, they put her into this tube. Yeah, back to pods, I think. And then she takes you to a back room because you need to get that eye patched up or you're going to get a really bad infection. And I say really bad because you're probably already infected. When she takes you into that room, that's where our session starts proper. Let's move there now. Oh, I got you guys up here too. She's almost done patching you up. She looks at you and she goes, Louis, what the hell's going on?
Oh, no.
Well, let's offer, please. And as she's fully tightening an ass, it's a long story. A lot of shit's been going on.
She tells you, I see you're as strong spirit as ever, even though you don't age as gracefully as my people do. She smirks as she begins to patch up your arm that's slowly reverting back to metal bits, but a permanent scar left on your chest. She just tells you, I thought you were retired, but here we are, time and time again. First the dragon, now metal gods.
As the dragon is mentioned, Lewis hears a slight echo in the back of his mind. Not really anything odd that he can decipher, but almost like a slight laughter. Yeah. I guess they still needed me after all.
I always told you you're gonna work yourself to death, and today was pretty proof of those words, as you nearly died.
It's nothing new.
Why couldn't you
Lewis,
just
light smirk.
couldn't you just drop it? You know there's other people out there that can save the world, Louis. It doesn't have to be you.
His eye trails down toward the ground for a brief moment, before he just closes it and lets out a deep breath. It's not a matter of having people that can do the job. It's a matter of wanting to be useful. I can't just sit down and watch as other people within my reach not suffering. If I can do something, I want to, alright?
You're still as cute as ever.
Lewis kind of like blushes very slightly and his eyes just like trails away.
You know, sometimes I wonder if you had retired, where my life would be now. You had taken my offer to just go away. We had a good thing, you and I. Our love, well, it's perfect. Till the dragon god got in the way and the tangled got all messy. Why? Sorry to bring up old stuff. Hopefully it doesn't make you uncomfortable, though I was always good at doing that.
It's fine. And he kind of just, for the first time in a long while, starts to relax. It's nice to see you again.
He smiles at you, and there's just a moment of silence between the both of you that only lasts about 30 seconds, but feels like 30 minutes. He just looks you deep in your eyes. You could tell, even though you'll never admit it or say it out loud, that this woman still loves you so fiercely. And she'd do anything to hopefully have this work out. She knows time and time again, sure, you're always going to be elusive for whatever reason. And I'm not sure if you share a similar feeling, but I'll let you explain whatever your current take on this situation is.
Lewis, kind of sitting by your side for the first time in a long while, is the most comfortable he's been since they separated all those years ago. And just like all those years ago, his emotions are still just as strong. But he knows better than to give in to him, because he knows he isn't worth it, and that he'd only hold her back. And so, even while his emotions are trying to drive his body forward, to possibly think of a life that is peaceful and doesn't have to deal with any suffering anymore. One that simply wishes to be satisfied. Lewis fights back against it, even if it means having to keep himself away from the one person he ever loved.
The 30 seconds where both of your thoughts are exchanged, just missing each other, neither of you being able to read the other's mind. Both of you wanting the other but never having the other, at least not having them anymore. Both feelings true. But what you need and what the world needs from you, putting a forever divide, I should say. Eventually it breaks and she tells you, well, get you something proper in your belly and something to drink. And then I suppose you've got things to do. While Clendo's out of commission, you can rely on me and the other engineers. We'll be here on standby to make sure everything goes smooth. It's good to see you, Louis. If you're gonna be in Icarus for a little while, even with everything going on, take a girl out to dinner, will you?
There's just a smirk across his face. We'll see if my schedule allows for it. For now, I gotta go check in on my class.
Ooh, old man teacher man, okay. Well,
Not by any choice, but I'm managing.
you just she would finish up your wrappings. And then eventually would set out and leave. How you guys depart, I won't describe. It doesn't ever feel good, even if both of you are smiling. In any case, there are more things going on today. A lot of things, in fact. We didn't get a montage from Phoenix, but we're gonna get something else. Go ahead, yeah.
As Lewis is leaving the facility and Minerva sees him out, he looks over his shoulder and gives a two-fingered wave back at her. I'll see you later, Min. Take care of yourself, alright?
You too, Louis. You too.
And he walks off into the next scene.
All right, and as your door shuts, another one opens, and it's dark. Well, so there's two individuals at first, then there's 3, 4, 6 flanking. All these soldiers moving in behind a young lady. Some would think she's a child from afar, but she's just small. Next to you is probably someone you hate to be standing next to. It is the stepdaughter of your favorite teacher, the marshal. Looks at you with, I wouldn't say she's upset, but there's definitely a lot in those eyes, and mostly betrayal, perhaps, especially not knowing the full context, even though knowing it wouldn't change what occurred. But she brings you into this place, into Downpour, where there's a descent you're about to go on, deep into the core of Icarus, as the facility is built literally within the city itself. And this is what you see as you come onto the platform that slowly descends you. Clearly an artificer constructed this inside the heart of the city, though where you're going is even below the ocean that Icarus sits on top of. Marshal Mal looks to you, Phoenix, as you get onto this elevator essentially begins lowering down. She tells you what happened to you. What could have caused all this?
Don't know if you'll believe me if I tell you the truth.
She didn't say anything. She just kind of like does like a hand motion.
For what it's worth, I didn't intend any of it. I pride myself as being smart, but apparently I was deceiving myself, for I let myself be deceived by something else. Not that it does any good, but I am sorry. And she just kind of like looks past Marshall, not able to look her in the eye.
The elite guards walk up and you see these floating angelic things. You wouldn't think of them angelic, but they do give off a comforting aura, oddly enough, before they shoot a devilish scorching ray down at some people being disruptive. The elite guards walk over to the marshal, and the marshal goes, I'm here with prisoner P-33. We look at a document. Apparently news travels fast. They give a signal and the elevator begins to descend. Marshal now tells you, as you tell her your story. Even if all of this is true, hundreds of lives will forfeit this day. You understand there must be consequence.
Yes.
It's a quiet descent as you guys get to the middle level. She doesn't spare you too many words, so there are a lot of looks. Like she wants to tell you something, but she's also trying to be as professional as possible. She doesn't typically talk to the criminals she brings to the Downpour. Nor does she think this is a good fate for anybody. When you get to the middle section, she tells you, when they give you the food, it won't taste that good, but I suggest you eat it. Like the nicest thing she could say to you, trying to make conversation without trying to make conversation.
I guess I can trust that it's not poisoned.
No. This place may be a dumpster, but we still follow the laws. We don't just go killing people. However, we do hold executions when it's appropriate. What I mean to say, I suppose, is you're not going to walk down there and get poisoned. You'll get a proper trial, which may lead to an execution. It's a pretty extreme situation here. But you do luckily already have someone representing you.
That is news to her, so her eyebrows go up as she does look up at Marshall's face, just her facial expression, asking, who is that?
Most of this case has been classified. Most people at least, are not aware that you were the cause of all this. It's a hard line to say, but it is also the truth. In any case, I'm not sure how he caught wind of it, but he stormed into the marshal's office and he was just like, no way she's going on without me. I'm her lawyer. Look it up. I've been with this girl all her life. Yeah, that's right. The name's Frankie, and don't you forget it.
Oh, I know Frankie player here knows Frankie pretty well. He has heart, but do I think he has brain to do this?
What is that? Man, what is that movie? It's a classic. Oh, My Cousin Vinny. You kind of feeling that kind of vibe.
Oh God. She's going to hold back a smirk, which isn't too hard to do because she's pretty somber right now. Does he? I love the man, but I'm not quite sure he's my best hope.
If you have an alternative, it is your choice. He just volunteered. Typically, that trade of work is rather expensive, even for adventurers to afford.
Yeah, I don't know who would want to represent me other than Frankie, so I can't exactly reach out and find a lawyer from within here, I suppose.
As you descend past the midsection, you see that the top is reserved mostly for the guards, so people cannot escape. So you didn't see how nasty the prison was, except for how dark it was. But down here, you could see that they're working to the bone. They're pushing this large pillar that operates the elevator you're going down on. And it doesn't look like easy work. There's a lot of them. Those little specks on the screen. Yeah, those are people. Furthermore, you could see that nobody's in good health and everybody looks tired. They probably do this all day long and as often as needed. You can also see a massive creature swarming out of the water, looking down, always just having its watchful eye on the prisoners. Even the guards steer clear of the creature because of how dangerous it is. Though it is tamed, but doesn't mean it doesn't have its shrieks when it gets worked up. In any case, Marshal Mao tells you that, well, you haven't seen any of the ugly stuff yet in the prison. Hopefully this isn't too daunting for you so far.
If I can have one night's rest, I'll have a chance to keep up with it.
At least you won't be disturbed. At the moment, it seems that you'll be placed alone.
She just nods and keeps looking outwards.
You get onto this bridge. It's pretty narrow. And you make your way across it and into the prison. Come back to you. All right, the rest of you, at some point, whether it's 5 hours from now, 7 hours from now, next damn day, all arrive back at the Harp. All of you assembled, and Phoenix is still missing. Lewis is on his way here. He's outside, but you're still in the dark about what all happened. But you have the comfort of each other. But you do know that Dando is particularly sad because he has an immediate order from Amalexia that her particular students will be returned to the academy immediately because of the loss of one of their teammates, to properly see him gone and to reevaluate the student's studies. In any case, whoever wishes to speak up first can. Let me know you get that vision on the map. I made another map for the Harpy. All right, you guys can see.
All right. For Sora, she has Athon's egg in her lap. She's sitting cross-legged with her back against the bar table. She's like still watching the doorway, her head kind of like lolling to the side as she's about to like fall over and go to sleep, but then snaps back awake, staring at the door, and then slowly kind of becoming droopy again.
Dando looks around. This isn't fair. It's not like we had anything to do with all this. Why they sent us back to the academy? Freaking Fairland sucks.
Hey. It's just part of doing your part, that's all. You don't have to talk shit about the Fairlands here.
Asha goes, we're honoring our fallen friend. We're bringing him back to where it all began. For him, at least. And Creed is just like, he's crying, but he's acting like he's not crying. Just sitting there, his hair in front of his face.
What Quill did for Banambu is incredibly brave, and I don't think I would have been able to do that. You know, I don't know about yourselves if you think you would have done it as well. Some of you might have questioned the judgment of being able of sacrificing a life like that, but we have to live and honor his goal there.
I don't entirely agree with you, Judith.
About which part? About honoring him? About honoring his decision?
I wish his decision had come from a more positive place.
That's what I mean. That's why I said everyone. You can disagree with his decision, but that was what he made. That was his choice.
He just viewed himself as so low. And he was amazing in my eyes.
Did you ever tell him that?
I never got the chance.
Maybe that's something that we can all do now. Just remember that it's okay to let people that we know that we're around, that we care for them, because they might not be here tomorrow. That goes for all of you. And I look at Amrud, I look at Creed and Sora and Dondo. It's like, and Tasha, of course, but this is
Reed goes, I don't know if this life is cut out for me. I always wanted to be someone that people could look to and think I was a hero. I think most people would love to be a hero in others' eyes. Most people would love to be someone important. I think it's a foolish dream. But I think that everyone should know their limits. And mine is in the kitchen. That doesn't make me less than you. It just makes me different.
I think you are a hero, Creed.
I shit my pants trying to perform a song. That's hardly heroic. I'm so nervous I can't even sing without messing my trousers.
I saw a vision of you lifting a very heavy piece of rubble to save a child. Was that true?
Yeah.
Great.
Looks at you and goes, well, you see, I thought I lifted the rock, but then when I looked back, it was really blue that lifted the rock. That damn bear took all my fame and glory.
It doesn't matter, Creed. You tried. You wanted to help. You did. There are many people out in the city today that are well fed because of you. That's heroic in its own way. You did great. Everybody.
Fuck happened?
What? What?
I don't know.
I mean, what? We leave Phoenix. What's her dad? And all this shit happens? What happened?
You think that's the connection there?
I know the old man's off his fucking rocker is what I know.
Oh, there's no need to be rude about it, Amrut.
Look outside. Tell me if it's not justified or not.
We don't even know if it was them yet.
Pretty sure we saw the direction they were coming from.
He's not wrong, you know.
Listen, I know he's Lewis's friend and Phoenix's father, but come on. That guy holding all the keys, it's all that metal shit in the mountains.
I know we're all tired, but maybe we should have went there to check on them first. Maybe Phoenix and Lewis are still there.
Yeah, I can't keep waiting. I must see if the... Oh, the world's spinning. Hold on.
Come.
We'll go in the morning. Nothing else we can do.
But what if they need me?
Not like this.
She'll sadly look down and just pick up Aethon.
Sora, if you feel like you need to go, I'll go with you. It doesn't matter if we're busted and we don't have a lot of our spells and all that other fun stuff that we have, but neither do most people out there in that world, so we can do it. You can do it, Sora.
Okay. I'll just need to leave Aethon here. I don't want to fall and accidentally squish him. After all, he survived.
And it's probably gonna be wasted, but whatever. Me saying that gives Sora a bardic inspiration.
Okay. I cannot wait anymore. I need to know if they're okay.
Come on. She'll like walk like just behind you to make sure that you're steady.
When you guys get about right there, pause. At the same time you guys are talking, somebody they would have been talking outside. Outside, Lewis, you slowly get here, whatever condition you are when you finally arrive. What are your thoughts as you walk up before Alexia pretty much grabs you up to tell you something?
As Lewis makes his way up the various steps of Icarus, his body bruised, covered in various bandages, as Minerva had helped remove the various bullets and his non-functioning eye from his form. He eventually hobbles up to the destroyed harpy, and his vision shifts once more within that eye of the various buildings that laid waste in that incident so many years ago. Let's have a deep breath and continues forward before he sees Alexia. And his expression is just blank as he approaches her.
Mr. Newell?
Miss Alexia.
I thought it was most appropriate that you inform your students of what occurred. I'm sure you're well aware. I was given a detailed notice from the guild itself.
Yeah.
In any case, main chambers up in the Fairlands have sent down some aid. Rather expensive teleportation, might I add, to get you someone quickly to evaluate yourself and the students. Considering all that happened, it is more than appropriate. Unfortunately for me and my students, I'll be returning to the Fairlands promptly. But you are to remain here and complete whatever training is left to be completed.
Alright.
Just good.
Let them know we're gonna need a couple days to rest up. I doubt that they're really in much condition to be studying at the moment, as his eyes just trail toward the destroyed building.
Of course, we don't expect you to resume classes tomorrow. Your time in Icarus has been extended, I should say. At least a week or two. You have the next few days to gather your strength and assist the city whenever appropriate. But of course, also tend to your own students' mental health and yours as well. And to aid with that process, it would be foolish for the Fairlands to ignore what we need. And she takes a step back, introduce you to Orija Rojal.
Before you see a fair-skinned elven woman with golden eyes, and her long blonde hair is probably about waist length, is all bundled up at the base of the neck neatly. And she just has an expression on her face like she realizes this is a horrible time for you. Quite frankly, you look like shit right now. I mean, you've been through a lot of stuff. So she's just gonna try to be very polite, but she will nod her head at you deeply. It's a pleasure to meet you, Lewis. I am Maria. I have been sent by the Academy to observe, as Alexia has said, but also hopefully to be of some aid and assistance. I've gotten some briefing. that Amalexia, the same briefing that Amalexia has, and don't mind me, I'm just going to see what I can do for y'all.
Good to hear. Closes his eyes and just walks past. Not really seeing her as someone that's much of concern at the moment, because most of his attention is toward everybody else's condition.
I'm gonna let you turn to you. Naturally, the situations are quite tense and stressful. I'm sure they will warm up to you in time.
It is understandable. Nobody has had a good day today.
In case, after he meets with them, you should introduce yourself. There's no good time to do so, but now's good as any.
Thank you, Amalexian. May I ask, before you head out, is there anyone amongst your students that you would like me to visit that you think I may be of service to?
Of course, as you know, one of our students have fallen, unfortunately, even under my watch.
It is not your fault, my dear.
Thank you. It's harsh, though, being the leader of a guardian, a protector. It does truly feel like it's our fault, even if it's not.
She will reach out to place her hand on Amalexia's shoulder. It is a heavy burden that you carry. I would suggest you go and be with your friends to help you carry it. But I know you have been chosen for a reason. You are capable of this. Just hang in there. These things you will get through.
Smiles at you. I've been down this road many times. Maybe not in the city being assaulted. My line of work. I was an assassin, after all. Quite some time. You never know if you're the good guy or the bad guy in that line of work. Of course, the name itself feels dirty. There are times that it can be deployed, such as against our enemy Palm. In any case, my students, they're a bit all unstable at the moment. More than usual, I should say. Except for Tasha, she's always held herself together quite well, in fact. But I think the one that's hurt the most is Dondo, though visually you'll probably think of Creed. Especially since Dondo has to part ways with his sister, which he holds more important than anything in the world, even more than his own life.
I will approach him and see if he wants an ear to listen. Not everybody does, but I'll see what I can do.
Fair warning, he may try to flirt with you. Slap him on his head and he'll be alright.
She does a slight smirk. He wouldn't be the first, I assure you.
She nods and bows. She'll get the students and provisions ready for our travel. Good day.
Good day, my dear.
And, Lewis.
Lewis tries to open the left door into the Harpy. How structurally sound is this thing?
What door?
Exactly. He lifts up his hand instinctually to grab the door and then kind of just grasps empty air. Well, you guys have definitely been through some shit.
Lewis,
Walk through it.
as it was like talking to Judith and hearing your voice, the next thing you just feel is just her body kind of slamming against yours into a hug.
Oh, take it easy, kid.
Lewis.
He seems really uncomfortable with that kind of like half smile that he seems to be almost forcing, but he doesn't seem like he particularly minds it all that much as he starts to calm himself down and just like places his organic head on your head, on your hair.
When Sora grabs onto you and pulls you in, like that means your face gets pushed to her shoulder, and all I can see is this fucking eye, and I'm like, "What the hell happened to you? What happened to your eye?"
Yeah. Let's just say I had to take up the role of a mentor for a bit.
But what happened to your skin and why do you smell like soup?
Where's Phoenix?
His smile eventually just fades. It's a long story. Many of the drinks survived the crash.
What?
I'm gonna need a drink if I'm gonna explain all this.
Here, and Amber throws like a whole bottle.
Grabs it. Thanks. Uncorks it and just downs like a fourth of the bottle in one go.
Who's this?
She
Someone
will.
the council sent.
Okay, never mind.
No,
When you
anyway.
when you say that, she does take a step forward. I'm Maria. It's a pleasure to meet you. And she will go one by one, looking at each of you and like nod her head. Amrit? She's asking if she's got your name right.
Yeah.
I assume Judith?
Judith Bloom, yes.
And you must be Sora. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Natalie.
Is there a larger image of her artwork?
There is. You can go ahead and. Well, how do I show it? I don't even know.
You can go to her character sheet in Sakura's folder, and you can look in there.
But how do I share it to you guys?
You want to show
Copy
your
link.
big artwork?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just drop it in chat.
In her artwork, she's all glowy. She's not glowy right now. That's later on when she does certain things. She gets glowy. But yeah, fair-skinned elf. Dressed a little too nice for the destruction of Icarus.
Yeah. Okay.
But she will take a step forward. Don't mind me. You guys have much to process today. She will try to get a seat for Lewis to sit in.
I can pull up my own seat, thank you. I'm not that beat up.
You
Just
do have something weird wrapped around your organic hand, Lewis.
He kind of looks down at his hand.
There seems to be like a golden furry tail wrapped around your arm.
What in the hell? And his eyes just like trail along it, down to like the full length.
You see Sora just standing there clinging onto you.
Huh. That's new.
You also notice the jewel is gone.
You finally used it, didn't you?
I saw a big light go into the sky. Numerous wyverns, all fighting against it in one single woman. I felt like I had to do something, so I reached out. I am no longer Sora of the Turtle Islands. I am Sora of the Aku.
A tired smile comes across his face. Glad to hear.
Please, Lewis. Where is Phoenix?
His smile fades. She's currently in Icarus's prison.
What?
What?
What happened?
As I was leaving the facility, the alarms down over in Clembo's facility went off. I went to investigate, and all I saw was Phoenix down on the ground, Metal Guard crashing out of the place, and the steam golem that was meant to protect it activated. Took everything I had in order to try to keep her from dying. But with what that scene was, it's hard to really say for sure what happened.
So,
As we were leaving the place and the invasion finally ended, her brother, who'd become a part of that Wyvern group, brought her up with handcuffs and said she was brought to Downpour.
so you're saying Phoenix did this?
I'm not saying anything, just that she was arrested and that she was at the scene when it happened.
Are you lying? Do you know more? Are you lying right now? Or are you telling the truth? I want to know. Fuck. Be quiet. I want to know. This is our friend. I want to know. I want to know what we know, so we can help her.
him. Look at him at the moment. Give him a second, please.
It's
What all
alright.
did you see when you saw her?
When I
Could
turned the
you
corner, the first thing I saw
ascertain-
was the steam golem activated.
Okay.
All I know is she was down on the ground, completely knocked out, and in pretty damn bad shape. I did whatever I could to protect her. I don't know why she was down there, or what the hell decided to activate that thing. All I know is it activated, it broke out, and we barely made it out alive.
So maybe something happened. Maybe someone else did it and framed her. Or maybe she was possessed or something. They're okay. There are ways we can think about this. Falcon, this prison. I know about this prison, right? Like, the Fairlands is all about. It's kind of like a prison in its own right? So what would I know about this one?
Give me a history check with advantage.
Okay.
You know something no matter what, but if you know a lot of details, we'll see.
Button, no pressing. There we go.
So Downpour is, it's built inside the city, quite literally, but that's just the level to get to Downpour. It's called that because it is underneath the water itself at the bottom of Icarus. You know that only the worst criminals are sent there because they have smaller jail cells and holdings in the lower districts that they typically put regular bandits and thugs. If she's being sent there, then it must truly be something serious. You also know that it would be impossible to see her in the next 7 days, no matter who you are.
Yeah. That means she's in some of the most dangerous people around. And Judith is like seemingly like very upset, like rattled. She just got yelled at Sora at people for just trying to get information. Now like one of her friends is like potentially locked away forever, or who knows what's going to happen. That place might not have the best reputation for treating their prisoners well. Judith is like going full blown like information mode. She's like, okay, I got to figure out. We got to figure out the law about all the laws here. Maybe find a good lawyer for her. That needs to happen. And that's what she'll do. She'll spend time here, looking for any kind of law stuff, and if not, she'll go to that main library and try to get information about law.
Lewis, seeing her start to get like very anxious and just trying to seek out ways and things that she could do, stands up from the chair and just places a hand on her shoulder. Relax. First things first, get some goddamn rest. You're not gonna be able to do jack shit like this.
The more time that we spend resting, though, who knows what's gonna happen to her? Just don't
And if
want
you
her to
spend
feel
the
like
next
that she's alone.
If you spend the next 6 days tired while trying to gain this information, that the quality of that information is going to get muddled.
I won't spend the
We
next 6
need-
days tired, Lewis. I don't need to sleep. And she heard what you were saying. Like, she's not like unhinged. She heard what you said, but like she has a strong determination behind her voice there.
He meets her eye, or his eye meets hers. And what does he read?
He reads the fact that there's someone that she's worried about Phoenix, but also wants to understand the truth. Like, if she's not assuming that Phoenix did anything wrong. She's assuming that something happened, and she's probably framed. And the longer that we wait, the closer things coming to Phoenix not getting a good trial or being killed, whether it being by like the system or by the other criminals that she's in there with. Time is not our friend.
He closes his eye and just takes a deep breath. You're back by 12, alright? Lights out by that time. I don't want you out any longer than that.
Sure.
And he lets go of his shoulder. I'll see what I can to gain as much information regarding the situation and when her inevitable trial will occur. Nobody gets brought down there for the sake of it. And they'll at least make sure that she belongs there, if she really does.
She doesn't.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, Lewis. I'll see you all soon.
Lewis, she wouldn't do this. She wanted to be a doctor and represented as a hero. She wouldn't have done this. Not her.
I know, kid. Let's try to get some rest for now. We'll figure it out in the morning.
You see her look very crestfallen in that moment, looking out the door again as if just thinking she's just gonna come strolling in with Jenkins. All right. Rest will do well.
As Sora leaves, Lewis just leans back in his chair, the bottle still in his hand, as he holds this like giant wine bottle, almost as if like it's one of those wine glasses, and just brings it up to his lip and just continues to drink until he eventually gets knocked out.
Sasha looks at you, puts your hand on your shoulder and walks past you. And saying anything, just kind of like just registering everything.
Gives a slight nod.
He just picks up the sausage and puts it next to your missing eye. Oh, you can't see that. He puts it on the other side. You want one?
Sure. Haven't had anything to eat in a bit.
Made up my mind. Luis, I know what I must do. I must represent Phoenix in a court of law.
Like hell you will.
No one ever believes in me. I come from a noble family. I'm quite learned and educated.
I believe you're good at cooking. Everything else, not so much.
Oh, I'll admit, I started learning yesterday. But that had to be a sign from whoever gods are watching. Today, it immediately is needed. I may be halfway through chapter 1, but I'll get through chapter 3 in 7 days. All right, just tell me you'll consider it.
Consider it on the list.
Ooh. He walks away and joins Tasha. They're getting ready to head out. They're heading out immediately. They would share some goodbyes to you. And if you want to say a more goodbye to either of those two, you can. But
Just
good.
whatever's necessary to get them moving.
Sure. Yeah, they would say what they say to you and to the rest of you, and they would move. Dando's on his way out before he gets bumped into Aria.
Pardon me.
Huh? Who the hell are you?
I'm Maria. And you?
Dando, I'm pretty much the guy around here, the guy of all guys.
Ah, so you do not say.
His shoulders are like really bolstered and he's like flexing, but like as you say, you do not say, he like relaxes dramatically. He realizes that even he has limits, so he'll never admit to it. As bad as he wants to try to flirt with this random lady that walked in, he looks defeated. He just, yeah, that's me. Stop Buldanda.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Dando.
You as well. What'd you say your name was again?
Maria.
Maria. I'm Dando, that's with 2 D's.
One at the beginning and one in the middle.
Yeah, just like how I'm built.
You are amusing. Nice to see out of all the destruction today, your sense of humor wasn't one of the victims.
And it's comforting. It's always been comforting to be how I present myself. I suppose is the best way I can put it.
We all wear the cocoons that are needed. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you have someone that you allow to see the real you inside, that you invite into your cocoon, shall I say.
So what do they call them? Therapister.
No, I wouldn't say that. I refer to myself as a freelancer. I get hired to observe, research, make suggestions, always for the betterment of whoever I've been assigned to. It is not part of the job, but it is my personal mission to try to leave people better than how I came to know them.
Now, you trying to help me or something, or are we just talking? I'm just, now that I know about your professional side of things, am I like, do I have to pay for this? I guess, but I don't have a lot of money.
No, the Academy has already covered my expenses. I'm not sent here to help you, but if you need a friendly ear to listen to you for a little while, that could be arranged.
All right. Just not when Tasha's around. We're leaving soon. I've only got a few hours. But if Tasha she's mean around, I don't want her to get the wrong idea.
What idea is that? Do tell.
Tasha's kind of, what's it called? Head over heels, or is it heels over heads?
Oh, she is she?
She just don't stop talking about me. So she sees me with another girl that's even vaguely attractive. It's a problem. She didn't even let me talk to my teacher. Can you believe that? Ah, women. Well, you're a woman. I'm not allowed to say that to women, am I?
That must be why she stormed out of here, huh?
Yes, the moment you walked up to me, I could sense it. She wasn't having any of it.
Dondo, along with your sense of humor, I think you have a magnificent imagination.
Ah, is it that obvious?
A little bit. Don't take it too hard. I've had much experience at this kind of thing.
Well, then I guess I'll be upfront with you. There's no point in hiding it. I hate everything that happened here. Why couldn't I be as strong as that lady in the sky? If there were two people that powerful, maybe the entire situation could have been avoided. But she was, even as amazing as she was, she couldn't bear the entire thing on her own.
No, and she did not. At least I've been told Mother Nature had quite a few people to help her. None of us are supposed to fight life's battles alone, Dondo.
Mother Nature, that's what she is. Wow, that's awesome. You think I could be as great as her one day?
Oh, I do not doubt it.
He smiles and he looks up to the hole in the ceiling because he's looking at the sky. But it's weird since you're indoors, but there is a big hole. And he tells you, I'm going to get so strong. The next time something like this happens, if it ever happens, I'm going to be able to stop it. Me and my sister.
Just to make sure, Dondo, that there's multiple facets of strength. Physical is not the only one. Make sure you do not avoid the other aspects of it and only focus on the physical. Mother Nature could not do what she did today on her own, and neither could you, and I'm glad you have your sister.
Yeah, she's kind of everything to me. But don't tell her that, all right? As far as she's concerned, she's a brat.
Your secret is safe with me.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and catch it to Tasha's because even if it's my imagination, I'm going to let it play out.
Good luck.
Take care, Roya.
She just has a slight smile.
And then the others run off. That's just you lot. Judith, what did you want to accomplish as you head into town?
She just wants to go to the library. I'm sure everything's all kind of fucked up right now, but she just wants to figure out. She just wants to like buy some or pick up some things about like the local law and things that might be able to be helpful in this situation. Yeah, she's fairly smart and she's been around, criminal justice and things like that. So I feel like she would have not like an amazing understanding, but she would be at least decent at where to look. Like she's not going to become her lawyer, but she just wants to be able to be knowledgeable and figure out how to get more information.
When you get to the public library, you go inside, you see that no one's in the front. Some of the library is destroyed, but it's right now no one's attending to it. So you pretty much go in there, take whatever you want, and leave. Though it doesn't seem to be a hot spot for thieves, as a few people in there, dedicated readers, are using it for comfort. But it's pretty much a ghost town.
Yeah, I just imagine like the place is pretty dark, except like a few candles of people in there, and she just, even with dark vision, but she still carries like a little candle holder thing that allows her to see the titles of the books and finds whatever she thinks can be useful, and we'll start reading there.
It would be pretty easy to find since everything is still, for the most part, in sections. Even if they're books, some of the books are on the floor. So you go to law and order section or something similar, and eventually you find a book. It falls off the shelf as you're walking by, which is odd because it looks to be exactly what you're looking for.
What is it?
It just says the legal system of Icarus.
Well, that's terribly convenient. She thinks to herself.
The book's pages flap open as if a mouth, and it goes, You would have spent at least an hour or two searching for this book, so I thought I'd help you.
Is this the voice of J.P. Morgan?
Well, the voice is rather neutral, but you get the feeling it is.
Okay. Well, thanks. I would have rather spent time, but I would have rather not spent the time, so thank you.
Oh, of course. Why waste precious time?
Are you just going to be chatting with me through random things all the time, or are you going to show your faces?
Perhaps, if it's warranted. In the meantime, I think this is nice, getting to know each other, before either of us is forced to act in whatever way we intend to.
What kind of way do you intend to act? I don't see any reason for, anyone to...
You know, I've seen
happen.
you've come here before. I've seen you came here a dozen times. I wasn't sure of the time period. You see, it's like looking through a foggy glass window and trying to see what's on the other side. This is what we do when we divine. Now, I know you've questions. What does that have to do with what you just said? But it's everything. The doom of Icarus surrounds you. You may not take the blame, but I know for a fact that if you didn't arrive, this would have never have occurred.
It's the power of a diviner is being able to tell someone that without that person knowing if that's completely true or not.
Of course.
Why wouldn't you just be able to twist that to fit whatever narrative you wanted?
Yes, of course. And that's also your power to decide what you believe and don't. I merely laid out what I say is fact, and if it is false, then perhaps it is so. But in any case, I'd like you to know something else if you wish to hear words that are possibly lies.
Judith is an amazing liar, but even though she's going at him, she does believe that to be true. She thinks that there is probably a lot of truth into it, but she's not going to let him even think that he is getting to her like that.
Sure. You can give me a deception just so you can solidify whether he picks up on anything at all.
Okay.
Or perhaps you are right and he just keeps going but doesn't think he's succeeding.
All right. Deception. Ooh, the best part about that though is that's a 15. So
That's a 15. So you are pretty steady good at mine.
yeah.
The book would tell you if you inquire. If not, he'll fade away.
What do you and why do you think that I'm linked to the doom of Icarus of all things?
Leading back to what you said earlier about the goodness of divine is that it's not always entirely accurate. All I know is that your arrival, whether it was you or who you came with or who you brought or what you did, would lead to this exact situation. I'll admit I was wrong. I thought this was going to happen a long time ago, and I had believed it to be true because it did happen, but it was different. Different time, a different age. But something very similar, far worse, occurred here. And I believe you died. When I caught wind of you recently, things changed in my mind. I don't know if you're the problem or the solution, but I do know you're the reason it occurred. Will you fix it or make it worse is up to you now. I'm offering you an opportunity, Judith.
And what's that?
Withdraw from your own newspaper and join mine. We can work closely to get the facts out together.
I've seen your paper. I have an understanding of exactly what you guys do. It's not my speed. I appreciate the offer, but at Between the Flames, we're able to dedicate ourselves to the story that's happening real life, happening right now that we know is true, and telling that to the others. I can't be a reporter of something that hasn't happened yet. Because it might not be true.
It's true. And I did state that even my own understanding was grossly wrong once. But I'd be lying if I told you I didn't know that was going to be your answer. I suppose I have use of the people behind you. Good day, Judith.
and Judith will begin reading the book. She will read it. She will not be home by 12. She is going to read as much as she can. She is not going to sleep. She will, however, trance. Because she knows that she needs as much time as possible, and if she can buy 4 hours, she can do it. She can do it. For Phoenix, she'll do it.
Well, since you don't trance, why don't you think of something that happens when you do, and we'll come back to you in a little bit.
Okay.
All right, but another thing I will have you on your mind, maybe it'll help you prepare for your trance. But JP's such a douchebag that it's kind of hard to decipher the pages. It's the only copy in the library, and he scribbled over every single page. All 459, he took the time to scribble individually.
Is it with paper or with like a pencil?
He inked it.
Oh, so I can't even read it?
Oh, you can decipher some of it because he got lazy on some pages. It's a lot of pages, but he also made sure it was the only copy present. This is the ultimate level of petty.
Yeah.
The last page, though, it's really clear to see if you want to skip around. If you want a copy, why don't you consider my job? All you have to do is submit your resignation. That's all it's written. He doesn't talk to you through the book anymore, though. It's probably either a time thing or a predetermined thing.
Yeah. Well, geez. If she'll read as much as she can. I mean, if she feels like it's useless and she's not getting anything, then she'll have to abandon it and go to maybe the Icarus Library or something. Like if she can get anything out of this, she will. But if she's not gonna waste the precious time. Right there.
All right, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, I don't have prestidigitation, sadly.
Emerald and Sora. You guys are just retired for the night? We're good to end this night whenever you guys are. I'm working at your pace.
Sora just wanted to be around someone that she felt was safe for the moment. As she places Aethon's egg into the basket in this canopy, she is quiet for a moment as she settles in before she just kind of talks out from the hammock, kind of peering over to Amrut. Do you think Phoenix will be okay?
I mean, sure. She's pretty tough.
I know this may be related to her, but surely she wouldn't do this on purpose. Right?
What if she did? What then?
There must be something, important reason, a mistake.
Maybe.
It's just, I remember one of our conversations being that if she didn't let go of that hate, if she didn't forgive her father, that it would hurt her. And now this has happened. Do the people we care about most, will they always hurt you?
Well, I'm probably the wrong person to ask, but maybe it's just better that it's them and not strangers. Maybe that's the difference that makes it matter.
And she goes back to laying fully down in her hammock and sighs. I'll be there for her until she needs us. I just need my strength.
Okay. You did
If
get
you-
out there.
If you ever need me en route, just say so.
Sure.
Good night.
Night. And that conversation aside, Amber still wants to go out in the middle of the night.
Excellent. Once you do wait for Sora to fall asleep, you do eventually slip out. And what are you up to?
Amber's gonna check and see if if that meeting from the hand is still on tonight.
Yeah, you would get down to the lower district, and it's pretty empty, surprisingly. In fact, a lot of these people that would be considered thugs and bandits and other stuff are doing community service. They help people get back into their homes. They're picking up garbage off the street, even though the district was horribly messy before any of this happened. Apparently, there's a change of heart. Regardless, they're tending to their local communities because if anyone's going to ruin it, it has to only be them. With that said, you would meet with the contact that you met the other night, the lady, eventually, and go ahead and grab her token. She would see you coming around and she would tell you, "Hi, her name is Shunder, the orc." That's on the overview for now. Here's Shunder.
Amber will like look from side to side and like slink his way over to her.
What are you doing down here? Coming for that meeting?
Yeah.
Well, most of our forces have been eliminated, and Growl's been taken to Downpour.
What?
They're rounding up all the usual troubled folk. Right now, we're doing our part to make Growl look good. To grab a broom or something.
Well, he'll take the broom. Fuck.
In any case, Growl always has a plan. I'm sure he wants to be in Downpour. Knowing that, man, he's fulfilling an objective.
Shit.
What's that about?
You got any way to break out?
Fucking metal creature above the city wouldn't even break in. That place is more fortified than all of Icarus. It holds the worst of the worst.
So no extraction plan for your boss. It's gonna be one of those lifetime stays. He controls everything from the inside.
You know it. A proper kingpin. Still running everything, even on the inside. Because money moves and money talks. As long as he's got the coin and the connections, nothing changes out here.
You said he had a job for next week too. Is that still on?
As far as I'm concerned, it is.
Gotcha. After this, he might need some extra coin, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Oh, fucking Sky Knights. Come on, look like you're doing something useful. He starts picking up rocks and tossing them into the side of the roads, or off the main road onto the side of them.
Amber will just start sweeping. He's not actually good at sweeping.
It looks
He's
like
never done that before.
looks like he's like practicing karate moves on the ground.
Yeah, just really like aggressive, just like making like dust go on around the air, making people cough. Sorry, don't know my own strength.
And
And eventually he'll make his way back.
Sure. You leave him down there, and you see that they're not really too organized at the moment, or actually they kind of are organized, but they're actually doing some unthinkable stuff. They're cleaning up. And you would retreat back to wherever you are. Lewis, you were sitting at a table with our new friend, which I should probably get a token down here, and your new one.
That is like really bad situation, and she wants to help these people, but it is not the right time. Like, she feels the academy sent her a little bit too early. Would she have any clue, because Lewis is currently sleeping, would she have any clue if she flicked a little bit of healing towards him that it would wake him up, like he'd feel it in his slumber?
Well, no, it probably would. I guess I suppose. Well, I was gonna say it's passive perception, but it's worse than it's ever been. Yeah, you're probably safe.
She's going to look around to make sure it's empty. Nobody around, because she doesn't want to be found out when she does it. But she's reading her book, which is on her lap, and as she turns a page, she just flicks her fingers out real quick and sends 2d6 over to Lewis. Not a whole lot, but hopefully it'll help you with your long rest. I don't know how light of a sleeper he is, or you are, Lewis. If you felt anything at all, it's like a warmth of energy, almost like someone put a blanket on top of you, kind of thing.
Araya, as you put the healing on to Lewis, kind of glancing down at your book again, and then kind of briefly checking back up on him, you notice for whatever reason the healing doesn't seem as effective. He only took half the healing.
She definitely takes note of that. That is something to find out about later.
All right. Well, we came back to you a lot sooner than I expected, Judith. But do you want to walk us through your? Because you don't typically do this, I believe, right? Almost never.
No, I don't. But I guess again, like if Judith feels like this would be a bad, like if she's not gonna be able to get anything because of the pages are so scribbled, like now knowing that, then she, like, do I feel like I would still get good useful information out of this book?
I mean, it's just harder work. I don't think Judith ever back down from a harder task. You'd get something for sure. It just wouldn't. You're not going to get perfect information.
Okay. Then yes, then she will read it until she goes to trance. And when that happens, she goes into a part of the library where, no one else is probably around, and kind of shuts herself in a closet or something, and she sits down, and like she can already feel like her palms are starting to sweat. But she just thinks of, no matter what this goes through, like whatever Phoenix is going through is probably pretty traumatizing. So she's going to do it. She can do it, and she closes her eyes and she puts her hands together as she sits cross-legged on the ground and focuses back to all the lessons that she was taught as a child, and she starts to drift away. In her mind, it almost starts to feel like these warm layers, almost of an onion, I guess, are just kind of being wrapped around her. And at first, it feels really good. Like it feels comforting, and she gets this sense of okay, this is gonna be okay. And then the wrapping layers start to get more, the heat starts to get more intense and starts to hurt, and the wrap around her starts to pain as it squeezes, and it goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And then at a certain point, it just becomes so hot and this blinding light that she can't even open her eyes anymore. Then all she starts to hear is this she starts to hear like screaming. She starts to hear like visions of like people and places that she hasn't seen yet, and then she starts to hear like sizzling flesh, or like what she assumes that would be. That's what it is, and it just all the screaming and all the yelling, and she's trying to hold it together. She's trying to hold it in, as long as she can. She's done this maybe once or twice in her life, but it's just an intense bit of pain, as all she can do is it's like a big block. All she can do is feel the pain and the screaming and the yelling and the screaming and the yelling, and like different eyes of different people, some that recognize and some she don't, and then she wakes up 4 hours later in a pool of just like sweat and falls to the ground. Like she's cold, like cold and shivering, but sweating at the same time. You know, when you get super sick and wake up out of like from a cold sweat like that. But she feels that she can move on. She can continue, and then she opens the book back up, wipes her nose, and then starts reading again.
I'll give you a point of inspiration.
Thanks, bro.
And the book would yield some good stuff, but it's nearly 500 pages. It'd be a few days before you learn enough to be comfortable in the court scene. For many people, it takes months or years to be prepared for what that means. But you learn the basic structure of what's going on, how to represent someone in the most bare bones kind of way. And you would discover something alarming to you, that if they do find her to be guilty of a crime, Downpour's rules are execution. They don't do lifetime imprisonments, though they will hold people for years, but eventually they will do executions.
Got it. Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah, I'm sure when you read that, you're probably like, oh fuck.
Yep.
Before we go back to Phoenix, I do say Phoenix, not Aria. Does anyone have anything they would like to do, whether it's even maybe a nightmare after everything that's going on, or maybe a pleasant dream, a break from all of it? Or is everybody set for tomorrow?
I will say Eddie is not sleeping, so I'm curious to know if she hears Amrit when he comes back.
Emma, if you attempt to avoid her, then you can give me a stealth check, or you can just describe walking in. And the rest of your course, you can spend your hit dice to get back to health.
Would it be stealthy? I think he just walks in. I think he just he'll quietly open the door, not to wake anybody up. But it's more for discreetness than being stealth. You'll see him walk through.
As you walk in, she has just a little light she had cast on a piece of rubble nearby or whatever, so she could read by it. But she will look towards you when you come in. Have a nice evening stroll.
Something like that. A little community work.
It's very generous of you.
It was Aria, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're gonna be following us around, or?
For a little while. Anyway, that's my assignment. I'll try to be quiet and discreet as much as I can, if that makes you more comfortable.
No, do what you want. We're just curious.
I would be too if I was in your shoes. Please know, even though I was hired by the Academy, I am not the Academy. So hopefully it will be an easier time for you to get used to me.
Well, I'm not sure that's better, but We'll see. You have a nice night.
You too, Amrit.
And he'll walk over to his little hammock.
All right. And do you just go to sleep, Emma?
What time of night is it?
I would say probably put a number to it, probably like 11:50. It's really late. You would notice Judith is not here, despite hearing Lewis tell to get back by 12.
Gotcha. I guess I don't know, it's kind of late. Maybe the expensive exhaustion. It's up to you. But he'll also try and study that the file before he goes to sleep,
Sure.
just to get that out the way.
Give me an alchemist check.
Alrighty.
Well, you can see that there's a lot of healing properties in it, but stuff that you're not used to. You don't think that drinking it would like recover your immediate hit points, but it would soothe you in other ways. It could even potentially do minor regeneration, like a finger or something, but not an arm. It's very interesting. It seems to be a mix of healing and some type of. Do I say weed? It's some type of. It's supposed to make you really relax.
Gotcha. It's like a little cocktail. Okay.
Yeah, essentially. But there's a lot more to be discerned about it. This is just kind of the immediate testing. You probably have to test it a few times.
Gotcha. He'll write down in like a little notebook. He'll write down his findings. Then he'll pack everything up and go to bed.
So.
Hold up. Last
Right.
thing.
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
As Amrod is starting to finish things up, he would start to hear just like groaning out toward the main hall as Lewis like starts to wake up. The alcohol just like hitting him hard. Zariah still awake at this time?
Yep.
Okay. He glances over to the side, just like a look of like you're still here, but doesn't really say it out loud. Just gets out of his seat and starts looking through each of the tents. Noticing that Judith is missing, he kind of just like lets out a sigh, fully expecting that she wasn't going to be back at that timing, but just lets it go. And quickly peeks into Amrut and Sora's tent. He kind of looks at Sora, who's just extremely tired, Amrut doing his own thing, and just like gives a really tired wave at him.
Hey.
And hey, doing alright?
Not sure anybody is right now, but as much as I can, sure.
I guess that was a stupid question. Seeing Sora start to shiver, he would just take off his jacket and put it over her, just to help keep her warm the best he can. And he leans up against one of the shelves, and his eye just kind of lingers on her for a moment. His hand trails to his sword, and he seems to just be fiddling with the hilt of it. And Amrut, you would see that Lewis has untangled a blue flower from the hilt of the sword and just like places it by the bedside where Sora is.
How's that?
Someone called it the Elia flower. It's a flower given to those that could be called heroes. Seen as one of the greatest honors that you can give someone. I think she's earned it. And he just leaves the flower on the desk side and leaves the tent.
Why does he just carry those around? Anyway, then I'll get back to work and then eventually go to sleep.
Proceeds back to his chair, making sure that having finished his checkups, and doesn't really even acknowledge that Araya's still there, and just closes his eye and tries to go back to sleep. Do you engage him, or do you just let him go?
She lets you go.
Alright.
She is observing everything, like she's not hiding that she's watching you, but she's just sitting there and letting you guys do your thing.
And with that, he would just let himself drift back off to sleep again.
Sora.
As Sora is unable to have a restful sleep in her state, she does find the time where her body lulls her into a state of unconsciousness. She closes her eyes, watching Amrut working on his potions 1 second. And when she opens her eyes again, she finds herself standing in what seems like a completely black abyss. She can see herself clearly, but everything else is in black. Until it seems like these invisible spotlights turn on one by one as these silhouettes appear in this circle completely around her. All their silhouettes, very familiar shapes, being the ones of her closest friends. Her eyes draw to Phoenix, since she yearns for her the most. And she sees behind her what she thinks is Jenkins. But the two almost begin to meld together, becoming a larger and larger shape until this hard surface creature with glowing eyes towering over her, looking down. Next to her, that one, she thinks she sees Lewis, but his own shape from the arm, the robotic arm, becomes misshapen, forming into a giant arm before the rest of him follows in size as a draconic figure lumbers next to the metal god. This proceeds onto Amrut, where one shadow, instead of transforming, that white spotlight just becomes pink as tendrils of blood-like in quality of wings sprout from its silhouette. She sees Judith with this outline around her, but it just grows so intense with time until she's almost unable to look at it. But when she finally turns again, she sees a shape that's unfamiliar at first, until she realizes it's her own. She stares at it for a long time, feels like forever, as it stares back at her, until she sees it grow in size suddenly. Its fingers curling into these fists as it stands in power before her, until its own shape just continues to grow in size, changing far beyond her own shape until it resembles that of a giant ape, two wings unfurling. And she finds herself surrounded by all these figures. She slowly crouches down, sitting, and just holds her legs to her chest and goes into the fetal position, as all she is trying to do is just not get their attention.
I'll give you a point of inspiration as well. And I don't want to take away anything from anybody else, so is there anything else you guys would like to do? If not, give you guys about 30 seconds to decide. The 30, but I really meant 10 seconds. Sweet. So with that said, we're going to go down to Phoenix. Maybe her last viewing for a while. With that context there, give us all a 10-minute break. See you guys in 10 minutes.
God, y'all are killing me over here.
Holy shit.
This is intense.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
First day.
boy.
Yeah, y'all could just go to sleep.
We could, but
My guy, I can't even heal from the sleep. Of course I was gonna have night terrors.
yup.
Go to bed.
It's probably the smartest advice, but you know,
That's the advice of this campaign.
just go to bed. Goddamn.
Be right back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, different time zones, so I didn't bother with the hour.
Oh, got it. I didn't know what the 50 was.
Yeah.
Thanks, brah.
No problem, mate.
So,
Always
so is
looking out.
that early morning for you or afternoon?
No, it's in the middle of the afternoon. It's a beautiful day. The rain was crazy earlier. Like while all that shit was going down, the rain was like full blown sideways, and I'm on
Oh, that's horrifying.
the 5th floor. I think it was pretty intense.
Whew.
I mean, you're in Australia, right?
Yes.
I've always considered wanting to go, but
You
then
should.
I always see all the things that actively want you dead, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's plenty of things in America that actively want you dead, that are not.
True
you know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah,
So-
but I'd rather not like deal with spiders that fight back.
I'm in the city. I have not seen a crazy spider that was trying to kill me. You know, that's like
Matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
probably. It's not as dangerous as you expect. Like if I went out into the bush, you know, like out in the outback or like Western Australia, yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some wild shit. But I'm in Melbourne, like it's beautiful.
Falcon.
Oh, but it's seen, yeah, probably. I have a good relationship with spiders. I don't have like a fear thing like that, you know.
I can't handle it, man. I had one experience that I can't ever take back, and it's ruined it for me. I can't get anywhere close to one.
Yeah, I always see, like, if I see a spider, then I'm like, okay, in my mind, I'm like, okay, if it's in the house, that's good. That means that there's probably some other, like, bullshit, you know, insect around here that it's hunting. So, all right, bro, you hunt that insect, you kill it, you know, and I won't kill you. Just don't get crazy with the shit.
Yeah, but what if it's nesting in your house?
I mean, I've never seen. I guess I've never had like a. What do you mean nesting? You mean like a full blown like crazy ass spider web?
Yeah, web with eggs.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen one.
I've had to
It
deal
has
with
it
those.
has to get significantly
Oh
like
god.
like either dirty or not taken care of for like that kind of stuff to happen.
Yeah, it was in this art room right next to my room. We'd moved in and it had been taken care of. And now there was just big ass webs with big ass eggs.
Oh,
Ugh.
oh dear gods.
I think I sent a picture of one of those spiders in the speakeasy when I found it. Fucking Aragog.
Oh. Don't recall.
I'll be on the lookout though. If I see a sick spider, I'll send a photo and put it in the chat.
Right.
Arachnophobia, go.
They do have animals. There's this kingfisher bird called the kookaburra.
Oh, I love those.
It's one of the coolest birds of all time. Like it might be my new favorite animal. Like,
They have such a great laugh. They are great laughers.
Mm-hmm.
wombats are awesome. Kangaroos are chill. You know.
Yeah, just don't bring a dog near them.
Just don't piss him off.
Yeah.
Thing's a buff as hell.
I haven't seen one like that, but again, who knows? But maybe when I go out to the west, I'll.
Things like sheer muscle.
Yeah. The people are very nice. You know, it's like everything feels safe. It feels like super relaxed here.
Mm.
Like the crime is like super low. Like I'm used to like being back home and like there's no way I'm gonna leave anything on my seats because in Atlanta like shit's gonna get broken into. Shout out to the A. But like here, like I walk around all the time and I see people like bags and all this other shit like in their back seats and they're like man, if you were a criminal, this is where you'd go. But they just don't do it. I'm sure if you certain neighborhoods there's always that, but in general, from what I've seen,
they're already dealing with enough. They don't want to spread any more paranoia. They already have to deal with huge ass insects.
Yeah. BRB.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm so happy with Lewis's art. How the bandage came out, though.
I like the art.
Yeah, it's a good edit.
Yeah. I had fun with it. Thank you, Falcon, for the recommendation for the Ender part of it.
Yeah.
Or the inspiration, more like.
The Eisen vibe sold me, so. Obviously, the kid's not like Eisen, but I remember how his eye was wrapped up, and I was like, "Yeah, this is the one, bro."
Yeah, that works. I was struggling to find like good pictures of like characters with eye patches, or bandages.
So that gift must have been God sent for you.
Oh yeah, thankfully.
I really didn't feel too awkward for you to have a little romantic fling with your DM.
Oh no, I'm completely fine with it. I flirt with people all the time, just in general.
Slow down, cowboy. Slow down. No, I'm just joking.
I do it more for fun.
Yeah, we open with that tearjerker, and it's just been like one after another after another.
Yeah, it's one of those sessions where you don't think it's gonna be intense, but god damn,
Everyone's
ramps.
bringing it.
All over the place. Even Dando's breaking down. He's just playing it off as best he can.
Mhm.
We all know Krita was gonna break down. It could have been a broken glass, and it would have been the same as the impact to Icarus.
Honestly,
Who
Poor
did
Krita,
this?
man.
Who broke this glass cup? Monsters!
Well, at least now he could become the world's best chef.
Got about 2 minutes when we grab me some water, and we'll jump right back into it, starting in the Downpour.
Welcome back.
Also, for any sports fans, shout out to the 49ers for winning again. Let's go.
Yes, I know all about the sports ball.
Yeah, I know all about this subject.
Well, this is just, just in case someone listens to this later on. No, I know you guys don't.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Just your back. No, okay.
When you have 4 tokens on the screen and you're not the DM, you might have screwed something up.
Pardon?
There's
Maybe.
Bananu, Phoenix, Jenkins, and Aria.
Oh, I see.
Oh my god, dang.
I mean, granted, 2 of those are connected, but the other 2.
Back.
Welcome back.
I hear that as I'm walking up. Lol. Get me a water bottle. Alright, what time is it? It looks like it is 51.
No.
I was gonna start with average, and it's typically first.
Yeah.
Here, busy.
Hi.
Cape. Oh, it's one.
Yep.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Cloudy.
I'm here.
Sagru.
Yeah.
There's a full house. Yes, let us. Without reason. So, oh, shit. Always do the outfit. There's like 30 seconds of us returning to the game, but we're still in the loading screen. In any case, we're exploring the Downpour. Not that structure you saw above the Downpour, which just is a way to provide energy to the city itself and work prisoners to death. No, we're getting to the bad part of the Downpour, because that's the great part. Phoenix, you've been descending, and it's getting colder and colder. There's just a single hole that you guys are falling down in. And holding the chains is a massive stone statue of an angel, of the son of Icarus. And as it's lowering down, Marshall doesn't spare any words to you. She closes her eyes. And the moment it just enters into Downpour proper, you can hear screams of terror. And there's blood along all the walls. And you can see gargoyles flying around and people trying to escape. Other people being worked to death. They look thirsty, look hungry. There are many guards here, including Sky Knights, that, while paid more, will never actually enjoy any retirement for the rest of their lives after what they've seen down here. In the darkness, eventually the tunnel lets out and settles. A massive angel releasing the chains that is the lift. And before you is the warden. Well kept and dressed, but you can imagine quite strict. The room is small, but the facility from what you saw above is massive. And all you know is pain and suffering is home here. Probably worse than even the crimes committed by those outside. The crimes being committed within its deepest, darkest dungeon. Let us move you there now. Can you guys see on this map?
Affirmative.
Yeah.
All good.
This gentleman over here behind the desk looks at you. Welcome to Downpour. I am the warden, Yashiro.
She just nods.
You'll be staying here for the next few weeks, unless things change. Based on the information gathered so far, it is likely your life will be forfeit. Would you like parchment and ink to leave a proper will or desire? As for what you came here with, all of it will be suspended down to your glasses. Nothing will remain. Only this suit. He gives you an outfit. It's really bare bones and nothing unique about it. It's whatever color it is and nothing else.
My handwriting is gonna be kind of sloppy if I can't see what I'm doing.
I wish I have someone write for you.
No, that's all right. I'll make do. But yes, I will take the paper and the ink, please.
He nods to you. The time here will not be pleasant, but if you are any way redeemable, then look to the light, and it will shine.
Is the light within this room?
Well, they're really faint light. That's why you can kind of see, but he's just metaphoring.
Yeah. She will look at the torch that's on his right there.
Yeah, sure goes. Unfortunately, due to the severities of your crime, you'll be taken to the room of the black chairs. It's there where your pain may begin, but hopefully not end. Do you have any questions for me in this facility?
Is there any way to get a message out?
After 7 days, it is possible for you to convene with the outside world. One person can come see you.
If there are any requests, I'd like for it to be my brother, Paz. If there are no requests, then so be it.
Actually, there are quite a few already. Frankie, Paz, among the list. I even see a name here. I'm not familiar with this person like the rest. Leah.
News to me.
In case I do hope, good luck. He nods to the marshal, and the marshal takes you forward towards the room with the black chairs.
God, she's got 1 hit point. I hope she survives this stuff.
Yashiro looks at you as the doors behind you close, and you can hear more locks than are necessary. There's a guard in the distance. There you go. The golem looks, letting out steam. It steps to the left, and the marshal directs you to the room to the right. When you get inside, you'll sit in one of the black chairs. You'll be deprived of whatever magic you can maintain even without a focus. Also, it'll be quite painful to experience. It'll tax your mind and soul, attempting to get to the truth upon what happened. Very intrusive, and unfortunately, exactly what will happen. We'll dive into your brain, even finding memories unrelated to the incident, all of which will be recorded and reported to the appropriate readers.
May I be so bold as to ask just who the appropriate readers are?
Typically, it's the council, but it could be other people at times. Though the information is not public knowledge, so whoever it is will be of high authority. Besides, it's not like you're the first to have this happen. Most people don't bother reading all the files, so maybe 1 or 2 people at most.
Thank you.
Anyways, I'm told you're alone, but it seems like that's not true. She opens the door and there's an individual inside the room, sitting down in one of the black chairs.
Oh shit.
Looks down at you. Pick a chair and I'll fashion you to it. At least give you that opportunity.
She is going to look at this person as she's making her way to the chair. Does he look absolutely tortured?
He is wearing the same thing as you. In fact, I do mean that it's other than that, he just has bandages. He's bloodied and he's got scars on his face and his lip is busted. But didn't say anything to you. He watches you with his eyes. Well, I guess everyone watches with their eyes. Anyways, he's trailing you.
Yeah, she's got blurry vision, so I don't know how much she picks up in that.
And the marshal fashions you to the seat, putting chains around your leg that immediately make you feel your connection to the arcane falter and disappear. And then she binds your arms to the chair, and she closes her eyes quickly as spikes protrude through each of your fingers, coming out the other side of the nail.
Ah!
And then you immediately feel just a jolt of energy in your body. And it's like your mind is being explored, restless. And the marshal, you can't see what's happening in the outside world, but she sheds a tear for you as she retreats. Good luck, young Phoenix. Fortunately, those words never reach your ears properly. And the door behind you closes, and then you go on to experience this for a long time because no one comes and checks you the first 24 hours as your mind is just being destroyed. And what kind of experience do you think immediately is like in your mind and what you can control as you're racing and racing and racing and racing?
Well, if it starts with recent events, she doesn't fight that because she hopes they will see that she didn't intend to hurt people, that she was used and lied to. But if things go back towards like her childhood, all of a sudden she will grimace and grit her teeth and try to fight that because that isn't fun memories. She'll try to like force it to other times. If it goes to like her classmates here, that she will struggle through too, and she kind of wonders what they're doing, wondering what they've been told. Lewis, I mean, she gave him that shot. He should have made it back to the Harpy. She doesn't know, did they survive because so much of the city was destroyed. And I imagine she is like, she's going in waves of tenseness and then a little less tense. I wouldn't say relaxed because this is obviously painful, but there's like pulses of severe tenseness in the muscles and the nerves. And this is not fun at all.
It's been about 30 hours since anyone's even checked on you. And eventually, you're just soaked in your own sweat from the insane rush of the experience. You awaken to find your fingers have been bandaged by whoever did finally come in here and tended to you, turning off the machine. You still feel disconnected from your magic, but at least you're not bleeding out as each of your fingers have been bandaged, though you notice some of your nails on the floor that were knocked off during the process. You immediately appear dehydrated, however that appearance shows in you. And the individual in the room still just watches. As you can see, it's a blurry orange head just kind of turned to you.
Wait, I thought you were attached to the chair too.
I am.
don't understand.
You'll get used to the pain. You should be able to at least move your face around. But you will not be able to leave your seat.
I don't know that I'll ever get used to this.
I had said the same thing some time ago. Whenever there's crime in the city of any large capacity, I find myself here. I'll out of my own free will. They ask for me and I come. They put me in the chair. They invade my mind and they release me. I will never fully pay for my sins. But you must find a way to get past them.
I don't know what you've done, but I'm afraid I've done something that can't be forgiven.
Then we're in the same boat, you and I. I've done unforgivable things. And despite the many years I've paid in blood and in truth, in honor and in courage, none of it makes up for the wrong I've done. So all I can do now is keep being better. Never add to the worst that I once was. Never be the monster I'm expected to be.
And yet here you are. With all due respect, I don't think I want to be here.
No one does. Nor do I. And I may be here, but this is where I'm required to be to pay for those sins.
I think I'd rather be executed.
Death is too easy. And the while someone comes and knocks on the door. And you see it is the warden himself. This place is understaffed, who would have thought? Am I interrupting something?
Nothing unusual. She's just like gritting from the pain. She's not trying to have attitude, but she's trying to not scream out in pain.
No, the type of people he deals with, it sounds like you're a bag of joy, honestly.
Okay.
He walks over to you and he unbuckles your legs and then your arms. Come with me.
I imagine she goes to get up and her legs kind of wobble underneath her and she falls to the ground on all fours. Just a sec. And she finds it within herself to get back up and walk slowly.
Yashido, you see a hand in front of you as you try to get back up. It's a mage hand, and it tries to help you to your feet.
She will grab hold of it.
I've dealt with disgusting individuals over time, but I see what happened to you. I will not tell you it is not your fault. It is. You had many warnings to turn away against the unknown, but you are not the evil the world would paint you, and I will not treat you as such. But there will be payment for the crimes, for the people who have lost their lives, their children. But it does not mean that I need to be horrible to you. As long as you give me respect, I shall give you some in return. And we will ride this wave until it crashes, or it settles, or it calms. I am not your friend, but I am also not your enemy.
Thank you for the small kindness.
I've seen so much nasty, and if you can be kind, then be kind. Can I speak for the people you'll soon talk to, though? Please, have a seat. Against the wall. The door opens to the left, and a lady storms in, her eyes locked on you. Still injured, though she looks in good condition, looks can be deceiving. She comes over to the table and slams her hands on it. You killed this. She puts down a little scale.
My apologies.
Your actions caused the lives of many people. And for what? Tell us more than what we've seen.
Did not know that anybody would believe the truth. Your devices in the other room have gone into my head. I cannot lie to you. You know what happened. I never intended for destruction. I thought this thing was being tortured against its will. I did not even fathom to believe that Clamdor would have a creature of such destruction still easily accessible. Like, why didn't he tear it apart so it could not reach out into other people's minds? I thought he was studying it. I thought he was using it. I thought it was being tortured. I thought I was going to release it and it was gonna go home to the other side of the stars, because that's what I was told, and I was wrong. I was so fucking wrong. So yes, my sin is in believing a lie. I'm sure I'm not the first one to do such a thing. I am just the first one to do it so epically horribly.
She steels herself for a moment as wind begins to current the room aggressively. She just lets out a primal roar. It's always technology in the end, yet everyone races for it. The world was perfect when it was just natural. But these machines, these bots, these metal creations, all they do is uproot and destroy. Yes, you've done wrong. And believe me, I've felt your pain and position. And she pauses for a moment. You get to live and feel bad for yourself, while children will never see their parents and parents will never see their children again.
Sorry, my lady. I do know what it's like to not know your parents, to not have them. And for that, I am sorry.
In any case, we have seen what you've shown us, or rather what we took from you. And it is true what your intent was. But ignorance will not grant you your freedom. Only actions. And so I'm on here, being one of the only people in the world that can release you from your confinement with just a word. The one who walks this world, who feels the pain of every life lost this day. The one who sees everything. And I see there is goodness in your heart, and it outweighs any level of evil. I may never forgive you. This child of mine, Vern, I have seen war with him. I've seen love with him. I've seen it all with him. He is just one speck among a dusty field, things taken. But you have a chance to do some good. And I don't need to ask if you're willing. I know you are. But it may cost you the very life that you took from many others. Your own life. Do I even need to bother asking if you'll do what I ask of you?
No, my lady, you do not.
And you see actually like a tear, you think it runs down her face. but her woodland skin just kind of absorbs it instantly. It doesn't dry, it gets literally absorbed, and the wind in the room finally settles. It was storming the whole time. It may not have been perceived because her storm was second to her own fury. And as it settles, for the first time you hear Yashiro yelling the whole time, "Mother Nature, calm down." And she turns to him. Then the leader of the vanguard. I've gathered all I can gather. She grabs the last remnant of Vern and pushes it as it cuts into the table in front of you. She leaves the scale there in front of you as she walks away.
Phoenix will reach over and take it. Oh, she doesn't have any pockets or nothing, does she?
I don't know, but you can just hold on to it, I suppose.
Yeah, she will hold it in both hands.
And Yashiro looks at you and he just goes, "That is Mother Nature. She can be the storm, but she is also the beautiful sun."
I'm sorry.
He walks over to you, he puts a hand on your shoulder. You are broken, child. But you can be repaired. But only your strength will pull you together. Our words, they can move the pieces. They can never seal them. And then the animated armor reports, "The leader of the vanguard is here. Shall I send it?" He nods, and the animated armor walks over to the door, and the leader of the vanguard walks in. An older fauna, a mythical fauna, which is an extremely rare breed of creatures that look more human than animal, though faunas typically look like animal. Her name is Kyu Kitsune, and she sits in the chair quite calmly, staring at you. "Hello, young lady."
Hello.
She's quite famous. She used to be a singer back when she was in the public eye, or a performer. She's a well-trained rune warrior. Mostly retired, supposedly. Or some of you may have been more familiar with her youth. She sits down over you and she tells you, "Everyone else has already scowled you for your actions, and I'm none bit happier. But I need something from you. To finish what you started, to set things right. Mother Nature may appear fine, but she's suffered injuries greater than anyone could survive from tanking most of that nuclear assault. And you killed one of my men of Icarus Vanguard, the elite soldiers of the city. I need you to take her spot. She was an artificer. You are an artificer, correct?"
Yes, ma'am.
Now, it's possible she can recover, but her lower half of her body was blown off. She's currently sitting in a recovery tank. I won't get into the details of it, but her machine, Shadow Wolf, will be under your command, as well as the Vanguard squad. Now, you won't be their leader in all regards, but you will be the leader when it comes to technology and how to tackle it. The Peacekeeper, as it was titled, though it is truly a destroyer, survived. Just a small piece of it, its head, which is about the size of a horse, I suppose, if you want to say small. It managed to get away after it was completely destroyed. And now that that head is out there in the wild, we need someone with skilled enough to track them down, and with Clamdor out of the picture, that leaves us with you. This head is very dangerous. The Sky Knights that pursued it were disintegrated. It may not be anywhere near its full power, but do not underestimate it.
It will be my ultimate pleasure to bring that thing to ruin.
Excellent. The team may not enjoy your presence since you cost them potentially their teammate, but they do need your support.
I will do what I can.
Yashiro, I trust you'll get her the rest of the information. He just bows. Good day, Phoenix, and I shall see you on the battlefield.
Bye.
And as she leaves, the warden stands up. You have been assigned to the Vanguard. They undertake the most dangerous of tasks. They have located the head in a forgotten relics facility, among other machines where it is strongest, attempting to repair itself. You have one night to rest. Gather whatever strength you can, and then you will live or die based on your own actions and the actions of that creature you released.
Can I request a little bit of time with this construct that I am to work with so I can get acquainted with its craftsmanship?
The Shadow Wolf, I believe you called it?
Yes, sorry, I had forgotten.
He tells you, I will see about sending it to the room of black chairs. And I'm also ill to inform you that you must return to that seat for further probing.
I'm not quite sure how I'm going to have a night's rest in there, but okay.
He looks at you and he goes, yes. I'm not so sure either. And the door opens up. I may run this place, but even I answer to someone. That is just the way it is.
I understand.
And when you go inside, you can see that they're the guy in the chair. He's been trying to repent for so long. He's been doing his best, and maybe it's true. Maybe there's some things you can't repent. Maybe there's some things that you can never get over. But he sits there and he's got a smile on his face. And tear run down his eye. And he's dead. Maybe did he succumb to the easy route? Or is the abuse too much? Yashiro puts your glasses on your face, quite literally, thinking that if you hand them to you, you might miss. They do not look to be an arcane focus. Hopefully you can see now.
She will hand him Vern's scale. Can you please put this with my stuff so I may have it later?
Yes. And I will come and remove this dead body.
You do what you need to. She looks at this chair. She does not want to get back in it, but she forces herself.
Yeah, he grabs Vermilion's body, lifting him up. He didn't notice how thin this gentleman was, and it's not natural. Whenever even the smallest crime happens.
Can I ask, what
Yeah.
was his name?
His name? Vermilion Pendragon Jaeger. First and last of the Pendragon line. A rune warrior of great respect, and he has done great things. Some horrible, but still great. Unfortunately, it seems he finally has been taken back to whatever home he is destined to be.
We knew Aether's last name, right?
Yes.
She's going to inquire. Jaeger, isn't that the name of the lady that runs the academy?
They are distant in relation. It is strange how the time has moved, but this would be considered her great-great-grandfather. Even an elf cannot live that long, so I cannot speak to what occurred. But correct, he is a Pendragon. Many will call him a criminal, a villain, but I think his last days spoke to his real character. He always came in here willingly, put himself in the chair, because he knew everyone would think it was him. In any case, Phoenix, let me put this person to rest.
Yes.
And she carries out Vermilion, and it may have always been a mystery, but that mystery's over for now. He's had stories to tell, and he's had his time to tell them. But this is the time of you all. But for Phoenix, as Yasha will tell you at the door closes, your time at the academy has ended, but your story has only just begun. And the doors close, and the needles spike back through your fingers. And the rush shoots through your head. What do you do to try to find rest?
She is going to try to imagine her cousin that was killed by Gil. Their life was hard when they were young, but he was always looking for the bright side. And she's going to try to remember his smile. She's going to try to remember how he could stare at a balloon for the longest time, and she wanted to be like, you are wasting your time. This is stupid. And there's something about the balloon that floats and defies gravity until it doesn't anymore. But she's just going to try to focus on that to try to drown out the pain.
Yeah. In your mind, as you're going through all of this, eventually you see the ocean, and when you dip into it, you do drown out the pain. It's still uncomfortable, but you'll manage. You have to. You do anything in your current condition, you'll surely die. And as you finally fall asleep in the room with the black chairs, howl can be heard from a certain machine, and your story will continue in the mini-series Vanguard's Vengeance. But for tonight, and for all of us, that does conclude today's session. Thank you all for playing.
Holy shit.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
You played all 3 characters tonight. That's cool.
I'll give you guys a chance to talk, but I'm going to close up the stream. So I will see you all in 30 seconds. Everybody say goodbye to the stream.
Bye,
Like it,
Night, everybody.
See ya.
All right, see you guys in 30.
Out of fear, we kept running, tried to hide away. Can you hear? War is coming, beckoning our fate. This is the day that we stand up. This is the day we fight. We'll take our place, we won't give in. Our victory's in sight. Only a sword in our hand, but we enter the lion's den. We're not waiting for a war.